Welcome to Move Like This, brought to you by the Accounting Move Project and sponsored by Moss Adams, the Center for Accounting Transformation, and CPA Trendlines. On this podcast, we share ideas and hear from guests about how they find, retain, develop, and advance women and other underrepresented groups in their accounting firms. Now, on to our guest. Hello, and welcome to this new episode of Move Like This. I am Bonnie Buol Ruszczyk and excited to be here today to talk to Angela Oakley. She is the director of a talent advisor program at Clark Nuber. So, hi, Angela, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you, Bonnie. I'm really excited to be here.
I appreciate that. Well, I want to start off by asking you to briefly talk about what your role is at Clark Nuber and I guess strengths testing in general, since that's the topic of our conversation today.
Mhm. So I've been with the firm a little under 10 years. I am currently running a program that is a talent advisor program where there's 5 of us, and our job is to partner with the CPA professionals and help support their development. And so I spend every day coaching, mentoring, and helping them find their path within the firm. And one of the main programs we use to help really set them up for success is the CliftonStrengths assessment. And we use that at the very beginning when we first start working with them, and then we weave it in throughout all of our coaching sessions. Not every single one, but a lot of them, because it's just a nice way to continue to help them find their strengths and learn how to apply them in their work.
Well, I'm curious, what was the initial motivation behind launching the CliftonStrengths program in the first place? And how did you get leadership buy-in for something that's kind of often seen as soft skills and not technical in nature?
Well, I haven't had to do as much of a fight, I think, as I have heard other people. So I started it with the firm in 2016. And what had happened, though, is before that, there had been a tax not-for-profit team that had actually taken the assessment and were very focused on team development and how do they work better together. And so they had already spent a ton of time doing strengths and really getting to know each other and finding different ways to work better together, right? So that they had a really nice team where they could work with each other and just find a place where they wanted to be. And the firm also had a really strong people first, with learning being a major part of their programs. And so when I joined the firm, I took an assessment, and I was able to really just kind of go with it. They didn't question how much I was spending with assessments. I didn't go nuts. I'm very much somebody that really pays attention to that. But I was just able to meet with lots of different leaders and talk about their strengths with them, and just show them what it's like. And then having that other team that had done so much work with it, there were a number of shareholders that were in that group, really just kind of enabled it. And so that was the catalyst. And then once I became certified, I was really able to step in and just start modeling it. The other part I will say is I picked champions or people that I knew were high influencers in the firm and showed them first. And after doing that, that was really the shift, because then they kept asking me to do the people that worked with them on a regular basis. And then my other third biggie is I just did it. I was so passionate about it. And every chance I got, even if it meant I stayed later or got up earlier, I just knew it was the right tool to really move forward with operating in the way that I wanted to operate. So those became the biggies. I do have one other thing was around, we started this talent advisor program right before COVID hit, and I got to weave it into that program. So it had, because I was meeting with people on a monthly basis, I was really able to weave it into all the time where we're revisiting it instead of just doing one-offs. That was a big catalyst.
I bet that was really good timing because that was a time when so many teams were like at a loss about
Yeah,
suddenly
yeah,
they all have to be remote. And as
yeah,
we know, accounting firms were not into the remote work thing in general before COVID. So
yeah,
it was
yeah,
very helpful.
yeah.
Well, I understand you've integrated kind of strengths into every part of the employee life cycle from onboarding to performance reviews to exits. So, what are some of the key steps or milestones that made, I guess, the biggest difference in sustaining the program long term?
So I first, if you're really wanting to do this, is knowing your own strengths so you can model it
Mhm.
and really show the power of it. And because it became such a strong core conviction for me, I really just kept modeling like this is a powerful tool. I do happen to have strengths that really lean toward. So I have individualization, connectedness, arranger, which are all strengths that really lean towards people development and understanding what makes people unique. And so through the act of showing it to others, I was really displaying my own strengths and really creating a really powerful way to what could come about if you really start using your strengths in your day to day. The other approach was I did that the talent advisor program, and then just taking the time to show teams or people who are struggling what it could do to help support them. So, for example, if somebody was struggling working with somebody, I would suggest, can I work with the two of you and just have a strengths-based discussion? And and then was able to grow it there more to teams when they were just starting to work together. So, for example, our audit teams did pods that shifted out every quarter. No, 2 times a year. It was 2 times a year. And so they let us come in and do some type of strengths-based session. So he just kept finding ways to show the value of it from an individual standpoint, from more of partnerships and working with each other, and then teaming of just creating that setting where people get to know each other very quickly because of that lens.
Excellent. Well, I will say, just in my small amount of experience in talking to firms about this, one challenge that many of them face is moving from the assessment process, so getting you ready to take the test, to it having real impact on how teams work together and their firms as a whole. So I would love to hear how you made Clifton Strengths part of the daily operations rather than just a test that you have employees take and then forget about. How do you measure its impact on things like engagement, retention, or even business outcomes for the firm?
Yeah. I'll be honest, it's still a work in progress. I'm amazed that the more we do, the more you realize you have to do, right? Or you can do. It is still something we're trying to figure out how we weave it into every day. What the ways we have been able to really see the results have been when you find different ways to continue to revisit it with a team. And then with that team, you start seeing longevity. You start seeing people stay with the team and they stop having the struggles of constantly having to train new people, which really is a factor in accounting, right? Having people who, because it's such an apprenticeship type work, you really, as a leader, to survive in this system, need to find ways to attract and bring people along with you. And so a big part of the program was finding ways to weave things in like that. And so the Talent Advisor program, because I was coaching a lot of different levels, so we work all the way from associates to shareholder, and I had a really strong relationship with each of those layers, I was able to intervene and step in and show them how it can support the day-to-day operations. You know, how, for example, if somebody was struggling, if you start with an associate when they first start, often, you know, they're not learning how to communicate. They're kind of going dark, or they seem to be struggling understanding something. And so you're able to step in there and like work with the senior and the associate and help them see things from that strengths lens, which very quickly can shift the learning and how that person starts to show up at work. And so that is where we've seen the most shift is when people see the value of, oh, when I take the time to know my strengths, then I can tell others. And when I take the time to learn about the people I'm working with, then I can figure out how to better work with them and either position them right or change my approach to fit their needs to set them up for success. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I could see how, I mean, I could see benefits for anybody at any level, but you mentioned associates specifically, and if you think about it, like, especially if it's somebody right out of college, starting their first real job, where they're trying to learn so much, they're trying to meet all the right people and figure out, you know, how things are done. I could completely see how them understanding their strengths and also their supervisor understanding and team members and such kind of being like, okay, Bonnie is not going to be somebody that's going to it's going to raise her hand and ask as many questions as some other people might be. So you might need to check in with her more often or vice versa. Like, you know, so I could see how that could actually improve how teams function, but also speed up how quickly a new person learns the ropes or understands what's going on or becomes a real contributing member to the team and the firm.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like everywhere, not everybody embraces it, right? But you can really see a noticeable difference when they are starting to use the tool. It's not the only factor, but it is a framework that seems to set that stage, and people understand it very quickly, and they don't have to wrap their head around it. You know, they seem to be able to, once you teach somebody, to be able to apply it themselves. And we make the assessment very accessible. Everybody takes it when they come in, start with the firm. Ideally, we try to meet with them within 90 days. And then we just continue to just find ways to intervene and help them see how they could use it to work together. Yeah.
So I took the test myself and appreciate you allowing me to do that. And I learned that according to CliftonStrengths, my top strengths were woo, individualization, ideation, developer, and communication. And I know we do not have time to go into a ton of detail on this, but I wanted to use this as an example, and I'm curious what these results tell you about me, particularly if maybe I was starting a job at Clark Nuber.
So one, I'll just say, because everybody always asks this, you cannot use it for an actual recruiting or hiring decision. It is truly meant to be a lens for development and setting that person up for success. And so if you were to start working at Clark Nuber, what your top 5 strengths tell me are you are somebody who really enjoys connecting with individuals and trying to win them over and using communication to do that. You're probably also somebody that really speaks up for others and is their advocate. And with an individualization strength, and developer, those are your relationship building strengths. You probably really do, just like me, very quickly understand what makes the people you work with tick, what's unique, and including clients. It's a pretty powerful strength for clients. And you will start to work with them by finding ways to develop and help them be successful. And you'll do it, and you'll bring in lots of ideas, ways to go about doing that. How does that sound? Does that resonate?
Does ring true on most levels. I do love connecting with people. I've always been a people person. My husband, I always kind of makes me laugh, but he says that I have my superpower is reading people and kind of understanding where they're coming from. And he also says I collect them. Those two certainly make sense. And I'm in a marketing job outside of what I do for the Accounting Move Project. And part of also, I do a good deal of DEI work, and that definitely involves that standing up for others and being an advocate and such like that. And that's honestly what got me into that line of work in the first place was, I wanted to make a difference for others in whatever way I could. So, uh, yeah, I want to offline. We're going to have to dig deeper into this because that is eerily accurate, I think.
That's the power of it is, and because we both know, people who are in accounting tend to not always, but be more analytical or like prove it to me first, right? And because it's so accurate, I mean, when you pull that report, they make it be more personalized. So they look at your strengths that are around each strength, and it becomes so like accurate describing the individual that they quickly buy in. There's a few that you have to spend a little extra time, but as a general rule, what you see is people just feel seen. And that is a powerful, powerful thing because we have so often don't do that for each other. And accounting, a public accounting, at least I should say, you're always looking for what needs to be fixed. Where do things need to be? Do they need to intervene to make things better? And because of that's all they do all day, it's a new lens to help them see themselves, not looking at what needs to be fixed or the weakness. It's about that strength. What do they bring that's already strong that they could be using? And then you see the confidence build up and you just see a flow. It's a pretty powerful tool. Usually by the end of, usually within the first 90 seconds of starting to talk about strengths, people are so astounded. And then by the end, you have them, you've hooked them.
I get it because I am kind of hooked now. I kind of want to dig into that a little bit deeper. So many listeners here may want to do something similar like this, but it can be overwhelming when you're looking at different types of testing and how do you execute it? How do you manage it? Particularly those in smaller firms. So, what is one piece of practical advice that you'd give to a firm leader or somebody that's in charge of maybe HR, firm administrator, who wants to take the first step toward building a strengths focused culture?
The first part is truly learning it yourself. It's like that self as coach where you have to do the work yourself first. So you really know your own strengths and the power of it. That just creates a super strong core conviction so you can model how valuable a tool. And what I have found is, I took an individualized approach because individualization is my top strength. And for me, it was through one-on-one coaching and refining my skills around that and just continuing to help individuals learn their strengths. And so that's part of this journey is if you're going to try to introduce a strengths program, you can use the lens to help you figure out how to introduce the program is you're going to apply your strengths to do it. The other thing is finding the champions or the partners who would really buy into it, and they will become your advocates with you and your partners in this. And that is the real reason how I've been able to get it going and keep it in place, is that I intentionally partnered with a number of the shareholders and leaders throughout the firm, and just made myself available and kind of stretched myself to help them see what it could do. And it just continues to grow and become embedded in the culture. But that's my advice, the way you're going to get it bought into.
Yeah, it's kind of like any initiative. You kind of have to find your advocates in leadership and
Yeah.
understand that not everybody in leadership may buy into it. It's much
Yeah.
like sort of, whether it's a DEI program or a program around belonging or, a lot of the stuff that we measure as part of the MOVE survey. It's rare that you have everybody that's like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. And here's all the support and all the money you need.
Yeah.
That's just not going
Yeah.
to happen. But, finding those handful of people that do get it and are willing to support it and give you what you need to run it, maybe not everything you want, but what you need. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a good way to do it.
What they've done is they've just been the people who keep inviting me in and giving me opportunities to show it. And I can even doing one on Monday with the leadership team. And so you just keep evolving it, keep trying new. 'Cause the one thing about CliftonStrengths is they have tons of tools, and they make it super easy to go in and do different things, especially if you become certified. So that's the nice thing about the tool.
Sounds good. Well, I feel like I've learned a lot, and appreciate all this that you have shared with us today. And I'd like to end with just a couple of little fun questions, to get to know Angela a little better. So when you were 5 years old or just starting school or somewhere around that, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I don't remember five, but I remember a story when I was like 8 or 9 that really, I keep thinking back going, if I only would have known at the time, So a ranger is one of my strengths. And so I like to take, and people development, right? And I like to take and understand what makes people unique and really help set them up for success. And I remember playing this game with my girlfriend where we had all these dolls and stuffed animals and lining them up and going through each one individually and having their story and making it up. And I remember not wanting to stop doing this. Like it was the best game ever, which sounds crazy, right? But I know now that was my arranger, my individualization, my connectedness, those strengths that are who I am, even as a kid, were already coming out. What if I would have known that then? Because that was when I was in flow. I just remember loving playing that game of how am I going to put this doll, and and tell their story, and what does that look like? And yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I remember playing Barbies with my younger sister and coming up with backstories for them. So
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense. So secondly, if you had the opportunity to travel anywhere, you didn't have to worry about taking time off or what it would cost or any of those kind of things that keep us from just traveling the world all the time. Where would you go and why?
I had a harder time. I'm thinking about this question of like, where would I really? And because that's been my goal, is to travel more, because I had 3 kids and I didn't do that a bunch. And so one thing that came up was just like Thailand, because it's so darn beautiful, and just that exotic escape and being around beautiful. I love hiking, and I being in still waters,
Mm.
kayaking, but not rough waters. So it seems just like it's one of the most beautiful places. Oh, and clear water. So that's that. And then I will say one other one was like Norway, because I'm Norwegian, and I have not done a lot in other countries. And so starting to know my ancestry would be another part of my places to travel.
Oh, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
One of the places my husband and I want to go, we haven't figured it out yet, is Poland, because that's his ancestry. Both sides of the family are that. I have ancestry from all over the place. I am a complete Heinz 57, but yeah, I love traveling. So I think any chance you have to go anywhere, you should take it.
Yeah, very much.
And finally, this one is sort of interesting to be asking you, but if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
So I'm actually going to twist it a bit, because it's really about, that's one of the things with strengths, is that it helps you discover your superpower.
Mhm.
And so my superpower, or my name would be the trusted orchestrator. And so my superpower, which I've discovered through taking that strengths-based approach, is I can really create trust with people like right away, because I'm so invested in who they are. And then because of connectedness and arranger and learner and my futuristic slant, I can really help them find paths within very complicated systems, and kind of be this visionary systems thinker with them that really helps set them up for success. And so the trusted orchestrator has come to me as my superhero name.
I like it. I will say that is a first for that one. But I think it's great, and that you actually know what your superpower is. So that's pretty fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, I have had such a great time talking to you. I look forward to future conversations and appreciate you taking the time to talk about the strengths testing and how you're implementing it at Clark Nuber. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Bonnie. I do really appreciate the opportunity to get to share what we do. It is my true pride and joy to get to work this way every single day. And I just loved having the opportunity to share it with everyone. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to Move Like This, brought to you by the Accounting Move Project and sponsored by Moss Adams, the Center for Accounting Transformation and CPA Trendlines. If you'd like to learn more, visit our website at accountingmoveproject.com. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends and colleagues too. I'm your host, Bonnie Buol Ruszczyk, and until next time, keep moving forward.